Hello and welcome to Pizza Horror Stories. Today we have a very special horror story that will take you to imagination. This story was sent to me by one of my good friends. Put on your headphones and feel the story deeply. Let's begin, he said. I was a young man living in Colorado. My name is Michael. I never believed in ghosts, spirits, or the supernatural. To me, horror was just movies, nothing more. But everything changed the night I joined my uncle, David, a truck driver, on one of his late-night delivery trips through the mountains. I thought it would be fun, an adventure. But what I didn't know was that some roads are cursed, and that night, I was about to face something that would scar me forever. Every winter, I usually spent a few weeks with my grandparents. They lived in a small, quiet town in the Colorado mountains, surrounded by endless pine trees and frozen rivers. Life there was peaceful days, filled with the smell of wood fires and nights wrapped in silence. My uncle David was a truck driver. He made long, dangerous trips through the snowy mountain roads, transporting goods between small towns and cities. Most of his drives were at night, when the highways were nearly empty and the darkness seemed to swallow everything. That particular winter, his regular assistant had fallen sick and couldn't join him. So my uncle turned to me. "Michael," he said, "I need someone to ride with me tonight. It's just a short delivery, nothing to worry about. You up for it?" I was young, restless, and excited for adventure. The thought of riding through the mountains in a giant truck thrilled me. Without hesitation, I agreed. I had no idea that decision would lead me into the darkest night of my life. That evening, around 9 o'clock, we finished loading the truck. It was filled with furniture, heavy wooden chairs, carved tables, and boxes of decorations, all meant for a wedding in a nearby mountain town. My uncle checked the ropes twice, making sure nothing would fall during the ride. When we finally rolled out of the city, the streets were still alive, lights glowing in windows, the occasional car passing by. But the deeper we drove, the more everything around us changed. Soon the traffic disappeared, and the open road stretched into silence. The glow of the city faded behind us, swallowed by the night. The truck rumbled forward, its headlights cutting through endless darkness. On either side, the road narrowed into twisting mountain paths. Towering pine trees leaned over us, their shadows stretching across the road like long crooked fingers. The deeper we went, the heavier the air felt, as if the forest itself was watching. I remember rolling down the window, and instantly, a wave of icy wind hit my face. It wasn't just cold, it was unnaturally cold. The kind that crawls into your bones. The roads grew worse with every mile. Potholes, broken gravel, patches of snow where the tires slipped. Uncle David kept his hands tight on the wheel, his eyes fixed ahead. What struck me most was the silence. Apart from the engine's low growl, there was nothing. No birds, no insects, not even the rustling of branches. Just once in a while, far in the distance, I heard the faint, haunting howls of stray dogs. Their cries carried across the valley, echoing through the frozen night. It was the kind of silence that makes you uneasy, the kind that makes you realize you are truly alone. We had been driving for hours, the road twisting deeper into the mountains, when suddenly, without warning, the truck jolted violently to one side. Uncle David cursed under his breath and wrestled the steering wheel, bringing the truck to a stop on the narrow roadside. The night was pitch black. Only the truck's headlights spilled a pale cone of light onto the cracked road. Uncle climbed down, muttering, and after a quick check, he groaned. "Rear tires gone flat." I grabbed the flashlight from the glove box and jumped out to help. The cold hit me instantly, sharper than a knife. My breath rose in white clouds as I held the light steady for him. Uncle crouched by the tire, loosening the bolts, his hands working fast despite the freezing air. At first, all I could hear was the clink of metal tools and the hiss of the wind through the trees. But then something else. The bushes just beyond the headlights rustled, faint but deliberate. I froze, tightening my grip on the flashlight. Footsteps, slow dragging, unmistakably human. I swung the light toward the sound, but the beam showed only branches swaying. Nothing else. "Uncle," I whispered. "Someone's out there." Without even looking up, he shook his head. "Relax, Michael. It's probably a fox. Or maybe a stray dog. Nothing to worry about." But his calm words didn't match the tension crawling across my skin. because deep inside, I knew those weren't animal footsteps. I could feel it. Someone was out there, standing in the dark, watching us. I was still holding the flashlight, trying to shake off the feeling of being watched, when it happened. Bang! A thunderous slam shook the truck from the opposite side, as if something massive had struck the metal with full force. The echo rolled through the silent mountains, bouncing back from the cliffs. My heart jumped into my throat, and the flashlight nearly slipped from my hand. Uncle David froze, mid-turn of the wrench. For a moment, he didn't breathe. His eyes flicked toward me, and though his voice was steady, I could hear the tension beneath it. Probably just the jack shifting, he muttered, trying to convince both of us. But the jack was right in front of us, perfectly still. "Uncle, please check," I whispered, my voice trembling. He sighed, clearly unsettled now, and stood. We walked slowly around the truck, my flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. The frozen road stretched endlessly in both directions, empty. The forest loomed on either side, shadows pressing close. But there was nothing, no one, just silence. Still, the feeling didn't leave me. It clung tighter, heavier, like invisible eyes boring into the back of my skull. Uncle cleared his throat, forced a laugh. "See, nothing there. Let's finish this up." We rushed the repair after that. His hands moved faster, but I noticed the way his shoulders tensed, the way he kept glancing at the dark tree line, just like I was. Every second stretched like an hour. The sound of the wrench against the bolts echoed too loudly, bouncing into the night. And all the while, that awful feeling wouldn't go away. It was like the darkness itself was alive, like something was waiting patiently, just beyond the circle of our headlights. We finally scrambled back into the truck, slammed the doors shut, and locked them. I thought I'd feel safer inside, but that safety lasted only a few seconds, because that's when the knocking started. At first, it was soft. Tap, tap, tap against the passenger door, like someone drumming their fingers on the metal. My whole body stiffened. Uncle David shot me a quick glance, then reached for the ignition. The engine roared to life, but the knocking didn't stop. It grew louder, harder. Now it wasn't fingers. It was fists pounding the doors, rattling them in their frames. Then came the sound I'll never forget. Screech. Something long and sharp dragged its nails across the side of the truck. The shrill scraping cut through the night air, setting my teeth on edge. It moved slowly, deliberately, from the back of the trailer toward the front. Like whatever it was wanted us to know exactly where it stood. Uncle David's hands tightened on the wheel. His knuckles went white. "Don't look," he whispered, as if saying it too loudly might invite whatever was out there inside. But I couldn't help myself. My eyes flicked to the side mirror, and that's when I saw them. Shadows, moving, stretching unnaturally long in the headlights' glow. At least 3 or 4 of them, sliding along the road, circling us like wolves. My chest tightened. I grabbed Uncle's arm. "They're out there. They're all around us." Before he could respond, something leaned forward into view. From the driver's side window, a figure. It was huge, 8, maybe 9 feet tall, its head nearly brushing the top of the truck. Its skin looked too dark to belong to a man, almost blending into the night itself. But the worst part were its eyes. 2 glowing orbs, burning a sickly, fiery red, staring straight through the glass. Uncle David froze. My whole body locked up. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. The creature bent slightly, pressing its face against the window. Its eyes were wide, unblinking. And though no sound came from its mouth, I swear I could feel it, breathing hot, heavy, as if it was inside my chest. I wanted to scream, but nothing came out. I was paralyzed in terror, just when I thought it couldn't get worse. The truck lurched violently to the side. The whole vehicle groaned, as if some massive weight had slammed into it. Uncle David grabbed the wheel with both hands, trying to steady it, but the truck swayed back and forth on the lonely road, and then it started again. Boom, boom, boom. Something was slamming against the trailer. Not once, but over and over, each hit harder than the last. The sound echoed through the hollow metal, vibrating right into my chest. And then came the growling. It wasn't the growl of any animal I'd ever heard. It was low at first, guttural, almost human. Then it deepened into something monstrous. A sound that shook the windows, like it was vibrating the air itself. Every hair on my arms stood straight up. Uncle David's voice cut through the chaos. His hands trembled on the wheel, but his tone was sharp. "Michael, don't lose focus. Keep reciting prayers, son. Don't stop." My lips shook as I stumbled over the words, whispering them at first, then louder, desperate to drown out the noise outside. Uncle joined in, his voice rough, almost shouting, as if our words were the only thing holding this nightmare back. But outside, it only grew worse. The truck shook so hard, I thought it might roll over. The windshield rattled, mirrors quivered, and the roof above us groaned under heavy thuds, like something was walking on top of us. Then screech, nails, claws, something sharp, dragging across the glass right above our heads. I ducked instinctively, covering my ears, but the sound pierced through, drilling into my skull. For what felt like forever, maybe 30 minutes, maybe more, the attack never stopped. Sometimes it was pounding on the doors, sometimes scratching the roof, sometimes shaking the entire truck as if invisible giants surrounded us. And then, silence. Not a slow fade, not a gradual stop. Just gone. 1 second, chaos. The next, absolute, suffocating quiet. That silence was worse than the banging. Because it meant one thing. Whatever was out there, was now waiting, watching. And we had no idea where it stood. When the silence dragged on too long, Uncle David finally spoke. His voice was firm, but I could hear the fear hidden inside it. "Michael, we can't stay here. That tire still isn't fixed. If we don't move, we'll be sitting ducks. We're getting out now." My throat went dry. The thought of stepping outside into that black forest after what had just happened made my stomach twist. But I followed him. The moment we opened the door, the cold air slapped us in the face. It wasn't just cold, it was unnaturally still. No wind, no sound of night creatures, just dead silence. We crouched by the truck, Uncle working fast with the wrench, his hands shaking. I held the flashlight, its weak beam barely cutting through the dark. That's when I heard it. Footsteps, not one or two. Many. It was faint at first, scattered like leaves crunching under shoes far away. But slowly they grew louder. Dozens of them, maybe more. Surrounding us, I swung the light toward the trees, but nothing was there. Just black trunks fading into endless shadows. Yet the footsteps kept circling, moving closer, as if an unseen crowd was gathering around us. Then the trees began to move. Not from wind, there was none. But branches shifted, bushes trembled, as if something large brushed past them. Over and over, all around. "Keep the light steady, Michael," Uncle hissed. His forehead was slick with sweat despite the cold. His knuckles whitened as he twisted the bolts tighter and tighter. My heart was racing so fast, I thought it would burst. Every second felt like the forest was leaning closer, pressing in on us. Finally, Uncle let out a shaky breath. "Done. Get in the truck now." I barely had time to move before it happened. From deep inside the trees, I heard it. Thump. 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 Not footsteps this time. Running heavy, powerful. The ground itself vibrated under each stride. Something was coming fast. The flashlight flickered, and for half a second, I saw it. A massive shape breaking through the trees, charging straight at us. Too tall, too fast, too unnatural to be human. My scream caught in my throat as Uncle shoved me toward the cab. "Go, move," he shouted. And as I scrambled into the truck, I swear I heard it. The sound of claws tearing into the dirt, getting closer and closer. We didn't waste another second. We leaped into the cab of the truck and slammed the door shut. My hands were trembling so violently, I nearly dropped the flashlight. Uncle David jammed the keys into the ignition, twisting with all his strength. The truck didn't start. Instead, the engine gave a dull cough, then silence. For a heartbeat, everything was still. Then the banging returned. Boom, boom, boom. The whole truck rattled, shaking side to side as if massive fists were slamming against the steel. The windows shuddered in their frames, and I thought any moment they'd crack. Uncle gritted his teeth, trying again. The ignition clicked, the engine wheezed, but refused to catch. That's when I saw it. Out of the corner of my eye, through the fogged glass of the driver's side window, the figure returned. Towering, crooked, its shoulders nearly brushing the treetops, and its eyes burning blood red, glowing like embers in the night. It leaned close to the window, its long distorted face pressed so near, I could see its jagged teeth curling into an impossible grin. I couldn't breathe, my chest locked. All I could do was scream, my voice breaking into the night. The figure lifted a hand, no, a claw, and dragged it across the glass. Screech! The sound sliced into my ears, high-pitched and unbearable. Sparks flew where its nails scraped against the metal frame. In the name of God, Uncle roared, his voice louder than I'd ever heard. He twisted the key one more time, his knuckles white. For one agonizing second, nothing happened. And then the engine roared, alive. The truck shuddered. The headlights burst forward, cutting into the dark forest like blades of light. Uncle slammed his foot on the accelerator, and we lunged forward. But as we sped down the broken mountain road, I could feel it, something was following us. Branches snapped in the forest beside us. Heavy thuds matched our speed, as though the creature wasn't running on the ground, but gliding through the night. I dared one last look into the side mirror. For a flash, just a flash, I saw them, not one, but many pairs of glowing red eyes, scattered in the tree line keeping pace with us. My blood froze. We weren't being chased by one thing. There were more by the time we finally rolled into the small town where the wedding was. Dawn had already begun to creep over the horizon. The first light of day touched the mountains, but the fear inside me didn't fade. We parked the truck near the bride's house. The family rushed out, grateful for the delivery, but when they looked at us, their smiles faded. Uncle David's face was ghost white, and I was shivering, unable to stop. We unloaded the furniture in silence, our hands trembling. Neither of us spoke of what happened on the road, not to the family, not to each other. The weight of it hung in the air, too heavy, too unreal. That night, both of us collapsed with fever. For 3 days we lay in bed, sweating, tossing, haunted by flashes of glowing eyes and the sound of claws dragging across metal. On the 4th day, a local neighbor came to check on us. When Uncle told him we had taken the mountain route, the man's face darkened. He lowered his voice and said, "You pass through Haunted Hill Pass. No one from around here drives there after sunset. Too many accidents, too many disappearances. People say that road doesn't belong to the living." His words froze my heart. That's when I realized we weren't just attacked that night. We were warned never to return. He pauses, his voice lowers, almost whispering now. Not every road is meant for humans. Some places, some shadows, belong to other creations. So if you ever find yourself driving through lonely mountain roads at night, and the forest grows too quiet, and the air feels too heavy, be careful, because you never know who or what might be waiting in the dark. This true story was sent to me by one of our viewers. If you want more real horror experiences like this, make sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Pesa Horror Stories.